Canine Detection Collaborative, a detection dog training trio with Stacy Barnett.
Hi.
Robin Grubel.
Hey there.
And Crystal Wing.
What's up?
With humor and a big dose of theory, our trio talks practical training advice and features interviews with top trainers and scientists.
It's Canine Detection Collaborative.
Hi, this is Stacy Barnett with Canine Detection Collaborative, and I am here with my two wonderful co-hosts. I've got Crystal Wing with me.
Hello.
And Robin Grubel.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about something that's very germane to January of every year. I mean, how many of us are we're always setting our goals for the year? I know for me, I want to continue on this, losing some more weight if I can. Of course, I'm up a few in the last few weeks, so a couple, so I got to get that back off. Anyway, we're always thinking, lose weight, whatever, get exercise, eat better, whatever. That's always kind of the goal everybody sets. But we're going to talk more about other kinds of goals. We're going to talk about goals around either with our training our dogs, competing our dogs, certifying our dogs, training, whatever. Maybe it's business goals, maybe it's personal goals, whatever. But that's what this episode is about. So in our last episode, we were talking a lot about gratitude, and we rounded out the episode with what are we looking forward to? And I know we all ended up kind of starting to go down the path of our own goals. And this is kind of the continuation of that discussion. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start out with, what are goals? What are goals? What do you guys think? How would you describe what a goal is?
I think in my world, goals are change in a way. And so my first thing I always kind of go is to, why would I even want to set one?
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. So I think we might all three have some good insight on this, because I think we're all three coming from way different places right now.
Yeah.
With Robin with puppies and advanced dogs, and Stacy, you're on a killer streak right now, and I feel like I'm on the sidelines right now. So I think we're all in some cool places to be able to talk about goals.
How did you describe it? You described it as
Change.
Yeah, as change.
Yeah, I think so. When I was trying to think about, so we mentioned earlier today we were going to do this, so that gave me a couple hours just to think. Thanks. I appreciate it when I at least can drive home from work and have some time to think about it.
You don't just wing it.
I try to, but so at school I use SMART goals all the time, and you can look that up anywhere. It's how you can make measurable goals, and so I think that is my what. So when I know why I'm doing a goal, I know how to set them because I follow SMART goals, which maybe we can talk about that later. We've talked about it before, but whatever. But when I really started, I tend to go to the opposites. So if you think about the opposite of goals, because that helps me kind of define what a goal is for me. And the word that comes to my mind is regret, because it's the things that I feel like I won't do. And so the opposite feels like regret to me. What do you guys feel like the opposite of goal is?
Stasis.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
stagnant.
Yeah. I feel without a goal, I feel very random. It just, I'm treading water. I kind of have that picture in my head of just treading water and not really going anywhere or knowing where to go, and just having it's just random.
And I think I must go more extreme, because I go to regret, because I go way further, where it's not just doing nothing, but it's being the connotative idea of being sad about not doing anything. So the absolute opposite.
It's the FOMO almost.
Yeah. Right? And so that would help me, because I have a really hard time setting goals. And I was talking to Robin about that, that, I'm in maybe that midlife thing at 44, where I can potentially retire we have the rule of 25 as teachers. And this is my 21st year. So you can do an early out where you get partial retirement, or you do rule of 80, which means I have 8 more years. And so knowing that, it's the first time that I've had to go, well, what do I want to do when I grow up? So in 4 years, I could be doing something else.
Yeah.
And I no way want to make it sound like I don't love my classroom. I love my students and I love teaching art. It's the other stuff that is really taking it to a new place that I could definitely see myself going early out.
Nobody's judging you for that, by the way.
Absolutely not.
They can have all the fun they
Yeah.
want judging me because I know who I am and kind of where I am in this journey. So I'm okay with that.
But nobody is. Nobody's
Yeah.
judging you.
Oh, I'm sure there are people, and I'm okay with that too.
They can answer to me and Stacy.
Give me their
Yeah.
names and we'll take care of them.
Yeah. Well,
So
I always need good source.
There's pretty good reason why teacher colleges are shutting down because people aren't going into the field for obvious reasons. So we're at a weird place. And I want to be a warrior and stick with it. But at the same time, I'm getting this moment to think, okay, there could be things in the future that could be different. And Robin has given me a lot of opportunities by allowing me to teach at Canine Census and kind of, really, I would say, inspiring me and giving me the confidence to get rid of some of the imposter syndrome and recognize that being a 20-year teacher means something. And that, having a master's in education means something when it comes to helping people with their dogs. Because, I'm like, well, I don't have like the titles of the teaching certifications of dog training. And well, really, there aren't that many anyway. So really having a master's in teaching is quite the accomplishment there. So I've learned so much because of that experience. And I'm so thankful for that.
I was thinking about, because I remember us having this discussion because I was driving. Gee, how odd. And
It's usually when we talk.
yes, as a coach, one of the whole concepts, and I think I asked you this, I'm like, in 5 years, what do you want your life to look like? What's a day in your life 5 years from now? And that can be really overwhelming for people. And so when I start thinking about, what does my life look like in 5 years? For me, that's a general concept of, I know I want to be around the farm more. I know I want to be able to offer classes year round. I know I want to be able to, play with more puppies because I'm going to have puppies. Actually, those two things, I want to be around the farm more and I want to offer classes all year round. In-person classes if I have the option.
Yeah.
And it's always been so straightforward. For me, it's always August. I go back to work. I teach.
Right.
And then in June, I usually do some sort of summer program stuff and I do continuing education and I do dog stuff. And then I go back to work in August. So I've never thought beyond that.
Right. Yeah. But that's also been your life for 21 years. And if and I've had 5 years because being in corporate America was like, well, where do you want to be in 5 years? I want to come to work. I want to get paid and I want to go home. When you work when you work for yourself, you kind of think a little differently.
Yeah.
And so, so those are the business goals. And then when I start thinking about the personal goals, I start thinking about, well, this coming year, I have 2 bomb dogs and probably 2 narcotics dogs to certify. And I've got Nico, who's coming up on a cadaver certification and his FEMA certification. I just counted that out. That's 6 different certifications coming up in 2023. And so then I start planning backwards. Okay, what sort of training do I need to make sure happens in order to make sure that those certifications are successful, or I give it my best darn shot on the very first one, the very attempt, so I don't have to test over.
Right.
And so, that's a short-term goal. And I posted something on Canine Census a while ago about, you always have, you have an overreaching goal and you have all of the little things must be done with keeping the big thing in mind, which is just like training.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, when we start talking about goals, I think of a progression plan. You list out the behavior that you want, and then you start with a progression plan. You list down all of the things that need to happen and need to make it go. And one of my other most favoritist quotes is favoritist. Yeah, like that's a word.
No judgment.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Hey, I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer. We didn't study English, so it's fine.
I draw pretty pictures.
You might have to change the plan, but never change the goal.
Yep.
And that little saying has helped me a whole lot of this is the overarching goal of my foundation. This is the overarching goal of the type of dog that I want to breed. Things may change. I didn't get the puppy I was going to add to the breeding program, or this dog didn't work out in my breeding program. So now I just have to change the plan to get the goal.
Yeah.
And that's being able to pivot, which is actually really quite hard because you can get really, really bummed.
Yeah.
When a path that you thought you were on, where like a boulder drops in the way and they're like, no, you can't do that. You're like, oh.
Yeah. And you can get really like wedded to an
Yes.
idea. And it's really easy to do, right? It's really easy to have like a picture in your head and this is what you're going to do. And even if things kind of like, even if that's not the best thing for you, you can get so kind of stuck to that. A lot of thing with goals, and we're talking about goals and change, is that there's always an aspect of fear, I think, that goes along with that, right? Because there's always the concern, and it could be anything. Like, maybe you're worried about injury, maybe you're worried about, you're not going to have, the funding that you want to do, to be able to do what you're doing, or, anything, or business wise, like just kind of scary because, like, oh my gosh, I've got to be able to still, pay my bills and still do this thing that I love doing, which by the way is very real concern.
It is.
It's huge. And that's a very real and legitimate fear. And I think that's part of what makes goal setting so hard, right? Because we can have this goal out there, but to actually act on it, that sometimes takes a good amount of courage. And whether you're talking about business goals, personal goals, competitive goals, there's always a point of courage.
And there's always this whole, well, but what if I fail?
Yeah. Yeah.
And failing certifications has taught me a lot about, okay, I learn a lot from not passing a certification. My mother-in-law always used to say, if you can't hear, you can feel. So
you can't, what? You had to describe it. Wait.
If you can't hear because somebody's giving you advice, you can feel if the bad thing happens to you because you didn't take the advice.
Okay. Because I'm sitting here going, what does that mean?
Works really well on 19-year-old boys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think about, and there's some times where I have set a goal, or I've had an idea, or I've been working, all of this stuff. And people have to understand that a lot of what we're doing sometimes depends on other people making the decisions that we want them to make.
Yeah.
And you can't control those.
No.
And so unfortunately, that makes you, of course, much more self-sufficient as you start working for yourself. You're like, well, if I have to control all of it, so that feeds into the type A personality.
Is that why we work all the hours of the day?
Yes.
Oh.
I filled that out today and they're like, what are your work hours? I'm like,
all of them?
I go to bed at 9:30.
Which job?
Yes, I get up at 6.
Yeah.
The
I'm like,
rest is working.
what are your
Um,
work hours? All of them.
yes.
Just all of
And
them.
and so as you're thinking through all of that, one of the other things I've really learned to do is to mourn an idea or mourn a goal when it becomes unattainable.
Yeah.
So I can close the tab, or I can analyze it, or maybe it, I don't know if I've thrown away some
Yeah.
goals and I've just, nope, can't do that. Or I've
Mhm.
modified it a little bit and said, okay, this is close enough. And you know what? Sometimes for type A people, close enough is really hard.
It, it is. I mean, this is just, although it's not specific to searching and all that, I'm trying to do this agility thing, right? And I'm also dealing with some severe chronic back pain from an accident I was in last year. And I mean, today, gosh, we tried traction. I mean, it was crazy. It was like, I felt like, it was like medieval rack or whatever. But I did a competition recently, and I just could not get my body in the right position to cue my dog. And it bothered me a lot. This is something I've wanted to do. And I'm not giving it up, by the way. It's not that. What it's making me do is realize there's other things I need to train to make that goal attainable, which means more distance work, more directionals. But there is a mourning of that, is that I don't have that 30-year-old body anymore that I had when I wanted to start agility or whatever. Or I guess I wasn't 30, I guess I was a little bit older than that. But you know what I mean? That's kind of, and dealing with this whole back pain thing. Yeah, I get that morning thing. I really do.
And I think last time we talked about when we had the reflection with Amy Hero, we talked about the not only owning who our dog is, but owning who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm really struggling with this goal setting, is everything you're saying is that if I view goals as change,
Yeah.
and I view goals as the opposite of regret, I ask myself, almost, what am I jealous of, or what do I desire when I see other people with their dogs? And I'm a truly very competitive person, internally, exceptionally internally, but also outwardly. Like I would love to get out there and compete and show what my dog can do. I mean, I've played competitive sports since I was 9 years old. It's a lot of years of having that kind of lifestyle built in. And for 7 years, I haven't had a competition dog for 7 years. And that's a really long time to sit on the sidelines and have my main ownership of who I am and what I enjoy being through helping others attain that, and teaching others how to be competitive and how to enjoy competition, So of having my friends who none of them have played sports, except for Robin, but of my club and such. And so it's me trying to figure out, I know at this point in my life that I'm going to regret not having a biting dog, because what you said, at 44, being a decoy and a helper, I know I only have so many bites left in me. I know that I cannot afford to pay a decoy on the regular to work my dog.
Yeah.
So, I have to figure out, do I have to mourn the person that I own and want to be, and just say, okay, you're just not going to get to do bitey stuff anymore? I mean, I have 4 dogs and a little house in a town that only have 2 dogs. So already, it's you can't have more dogs. You can't. So it's either rehome. But now you're looking at, in March, I've got a total hip replacement going for my bitey dog. And then I have my special, I'll say special needs Yukon. Love the boy. So it's a challenge. And I know that Quinn's not going to be here forever. But that doesn't open a spot when he leaves. It's not something like that where it's like, oh, I can't wait for the old dog to go so I can get another one.
I know.
Because I still have the challenge of Yukon and Checkmate that don't get along, and crate and rotate. And so it's hard to consider goals at this point when it comes to dogs. It's just stuck on the sidelines until I decide to either get the courage to rehome a dog or give up on my goals or give up on my passions.
And those are hard.
Oh yeah. I think too, you're part of my problem too, Robin, just so you know.
Sorry.
I love how she phrased that. You're part of my. You know what your problem is? You know what my problem is?
Part of it's Robin.
It's Robin.
Because I do feel like at the end of summer, I was at the Camp for Wayward Dog Handlers and Trainers there at Canine Census in Iowa.
Huh?
And poor Joe, her husband, he dealt with me all summer long.
You cooked for him. He was happy.
But at the end of summer, it really felt like this kind of awakened consciousness, this kind of feeling of this all-consuming, all-day dogs. I mean, we would wake up dogs. We would talk dogs all day. It felt like college again for me, where that was the place that I could immerse in my passion. And then I stayed in Iowa until the night before I had to be at work the very next morning. Wow. I didn't even get to unpack. So I drove late that night. I got up early the next morning, took a shower, went to work, and there I am in the classroom doing my thing, right into the meetings, and the whole world just shifted. And you have a change of identity. And
yes.
So it's two different worlds. And I mourned that. It took me a very, very long time this year to get back into the routine of this life. So it's an interesting thing that happens there. It's not really your fault, Robin. I appreciate you very much.
I know. I get it.
All know
yeah, I knew you could appreciate my silly humor.
So yeah, it's the passion that you have.
Yeah. So how do you set goals for passions you have that you don't have the teammates to do the thing you want to do?
You don't have the appropriate outlet, and there is nothing in the foreseeable future that is going to let you try and achieve that goal.
Yeah. So goals suck, you guys. Episode done.
Oh, I want to just hug you from through the computer.
No, I mean there's it's not like a pity thing. It's
no, and that's not how I meant it.
I understand.
And and I appreciate you sharing that, because I run into students who want to do search and rescue and don't have the right partner.
Yeah. I'm still there.
Right.
I'm there with mine too. That's why I got Radish. That's why I got Yukon.
whether they know they don't have the right partner or they're coming to that realization, that's hard stuff.
I retired 2 dogs this summer. I retired my bitey dog and my SAR dog, both of them young dogs in their prime that should be doing the thing. So yeah, I feel that in my core.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
So why do we set goals? I do think I love change. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy change. I think that's part of that growth mindset.
Yeah.
And it's that daily gratitude, so I don't want to come off as, poor me, everything sucks, because I'm very grateful for the dogs I have, the friends I have, everything, all these connections. But I do recognize that I am going to regret this phase of my life if I don't have a bitey dog. I feel it in my core, because I know that right now I feel like I'm in the prime of my understanding of bite work and how to work dogs. And so it's this I hit the ground running, if I just had a dog that could do it. So so I look forward to change, and I'm just going to be open to the possibility of things. And so I think that's my goal, is just to continue to be open and have that growth mindset. So I think that's a good reason to have a goal, is just to be open to the things that are possible.
So somebody needs to send you a puppy that they want trained up for bite work. I'm just going to put that out in the universe. Our loyal listeners.
Well, my friend Nina had a great setup. She has an agility friend that has a Dutchie. And this Dutchie is phenomenal at bitey stuff. I got to meet him up at the camp, and she's like, I just don't know if I want to really, work this dog, and my dog. And I'm thinking, oh, Nina, I wish I had that opportunity, like kind of rent a dog thing, let me just go pick up the dog, take him to training, take him whenever I want. And they still get to go do their life with them. But it doesn't quite work out that way. I do have a friend that she's like 45. No, she's closer to 45 to an hour away. And so it's too much. I mean, I already
that's too
have
far.
4 dogs that I feel like it's too much.
Well, and some of that is, as a goal to remain open to options, there's options when it comes to, you talk about renting a dog. Maybe somebody can rent one of your dogs to go be a hiking buddy.
Yeah. So do you want another confession? This is going to be awful. I don't think I've told either of you this. So
tell us on air.
Yeah, great.
I'm in my closet.
That's right.
That's right. I'm in my little closet in my little house talking to my good friends. So Radish just had her spay, and she was with my best friend Nancy, and Nancy is amazing, like the best human ever. And her husband is just wonderful, because she took Radish for 10 days to let her recover, because with me working so many hours,
yeah,
you couldn't keep an eye on her stitches. Yeah.
there's no way. And so it's pretty much guaranteed that she'd be going in for repairs. And, so she just was so good to me. And I had this weird thing where it's the first time that I wasn't totally, and maybe because I was just so tired, but I just didn't have that, oh my gosh, I can't wait to come home to see Radish every day. That was a huge, weird feeling.
Yeah.
Because, and as soon as I got her back, I got the feeling back. I was like, oh, I've got her back. But for that 10 days, it was kind of strange. So I don't know if I'm purposely distancing myself in ways like emotionally, knowing that I so desperately want to be able to own this other part of me that wants the biting dog. So it's a weird, weird place. That was a bizarre thing. And I know that I got her as a foster, and I'm trying to build the dog that I hope that she can be as a search dog. But as we've kind of noticed, she's a little bit more of a maybe.
Well, and this is one of those things that, we've talked about a little bit. And in the search and rescue world, we ask this a lot, because what's your why? Why do you feel that you want to do this thing? Because in the search and rescue world, it runs into, you spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time, you don't get called very often, at least in my area of the world. And so you have to have an intrinsic push to do that thing.
Yeah.
And so when we start talking in general about setting the goal, and I think this is one of those reasons why I've started thinking, especially about 5-year goals. That's a concept, because how that actually manifests itself may not be how I actually am thinking about it now. It may actually be different in 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's just kind of keeping myself open and like putting, I mean, it sounds like woo, woo, woo. I'm not really like a woo, woo person. So, but just having those like good intentions out there in the universe that when you remain open, things happen, like they just do. And
that's that growth mindset. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And I think about, even, 4 years ago when I was talking to somebody who's like, hey, let's go do bomb and drug dog work. And I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about bomb dog and drug dog. Actually, I think it was closer to 5, but I don't know anything about that, but oh, gee, let's go do that. And just that one decision on, I'm going to try and get a dog certified in narcotics and explosives. And just that one goal that I set led me down the path of, I just spent the last 3 days with a retired military working dog handler who also taught for the ATF for years on doing bomb dog stuff in much scarier places than I would ever be. And you know what? I learned something. I was excited.
Wow.
Because I got to learn some new concepts and some new things. And actually, I think one of the things that helps with goal setting is also being a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
Because when that big boulder gets dropped right in front of you and it says, no, you can't go that direction, instead of just turning around and walking back the path, you're like, okay, how can I learn around the boulder?
Exactly. And it also keeps you relevant
Yes.
because I can't remember. Oh gosh, I think Crystal, I think you were the one that put it out there. Like, what are you most afraid of or whatever? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, and I think Robin, you answered staying relevant.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, that, right? And I think that growth mindset is what protects you from that. And that growth mindset is how do you, and then you kind of layer the goals on top, right? So it's
Mhm.
having that growth mindset and being open to new possibilities and always trying to improve. And whether or not you have it, because I have to tell you, whenever anybody asks me what's my 5-year goal, I get like panicky because I feel like I don't really have a concrete answer. And I'm starting to realize that that's okay. But what I do have is the desire to always be better, to know more, to improve, to that inner desire. It's like that whole inner competitiveness where it's not a competitive, like I'm not talking about competing against other people. I'm talking about how do I compete with myself? Like, how do I make myself stronger, and more knowledgeable, better trainer, produce better results with my dogs, be a better instructor, bring the concepts together, all of these things, right? That if I have kind of that kind of mindset, then for me that's what guards against the fear of not being relevant, I guess.
And it's interesting you bring that up because it was a question that I heard on a podcast, I believe, and I didn't want, or as a YouTube video or something.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to forget it. So I was like, where can I put this real fast? So I was like, I just threw it on my timeline. And then I came back a few hours later and there was 82 comments on it. I was like,
wow.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That one resonated.
Yeah.
It
And it
did.
was
It
just, what
did.
is the greatest fear you have about the way you're currently living your life?
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't remember the exact way that you asked it. I was just like, yeah, relevancy. Like, I need, yeah.
And you know what? When that was the answer, and I noticed that a lot of the people that said relevancy were the people that are really at the top of their game. So, like the two of you, some other friends. And it also made me realize for goal setting for myself that I don't want to be the lowest. That's not something I want to desire to be. But I also don't desire to be the highest because I don't want to worry about that relevancy. I think I'm happy being like backstage. Like I think I'm happy being a support group and not having to worry about being the top of the top because I don't want to worry about the relevancy. So I think that's interesting too, of kind of know where to set the goals.
I don't think there is a top.
I would agree.
I don't think there is a top.
Not that I'm the top of the detection dog game or something, right?
Yeah.
But I've been doing it a while. Maybe not the best, but I've been doing it. I also understand that at some point I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. This is fine. Guess what? I need a new thing.
Yeah.
And so that's where the hunt test stuff is coming in or field trial stuff is coming in for me. Am I chucking all the detection stuff out the window and just being like, no, I'm done? No, because you know what? Detection duck stuff is really nice. You can do it inside. I don't have to go out and play with dead ducks. And, but I can sure start the learning curve.
Well, you're cross training and you're bringing those skills into both areas.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it just seems like such a seamless fit to, especially hunt dog stuff. It's all
Yes.
distance directionals. It's
Right.
such a great flow.
And so it's one of those things where I think that, you don't have to take over the planet. I mean, you don't have to take over the world. It's fine. And that's okay. Just having a good time with your dog is a sufficient goal. Working to go out and achieve, one of the things
Yeah.
I'd really love for Sheba over the next 2 months is to have a really nice hold. That's a goal.
Yeah.
Also requires that I actually train it, which is like a novel
there's that
concept,
piece I'm always
right?
missing.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about the concept of being at the top though, because I just want to kind of address that a little bit, because what that actually, we're just talking about change. And if you think about the concept of being at the top, it's static, right?
Yes.
There is no top, because if you really say, hey, I've achieved it, I'm at the top, but now what's a goal? Like that's like the opposite of the growth mindset, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes and no. So like you've achieved summit. Like what's next? We kind
Well,
of talked about that. So now you're doing agility, and then there is,
yeah, but I'm
you
just
know,
doing it honestly because I always wanted to do it. But that's
yeah,
not part of my ambition, though. It's something that I'm enjoying.
right.
It's something I love to do with my dogs, and it's helping, just the communication in my relationship. But it's not the same for me as competing and searching. What I would say is that the bar is always being raised,
Yeah.
and that when I achieved a summit title, right? It was way back in the you could count the number of summit titleists on one or two hands, right? That's not the case anymore. But it's never, for me, it's not about the other people. It's really about crafting the dog. And I want to see, what can I create with this dog, and how can I make this dog to be the most incredible searching dog I possibly can, and have the most beautiful teamwork that I possibly can with that dog. So the title is more of an achievement that I'm looking for, but it's not about where I am with respect to other people. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And when we start thinking about like the top, that implies where you are compared to other people. And for me, that's not the driving force. Although I wanted, there's a part of us that, yeah, we want to be recognized. We want to, that we want, we want people to realize that we know what we're doing, all, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what it's about, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We're totally off topic here, but.
No, because it comes into how you set your goals. So it's how you see where you are in the journey, and what you're, I mean, really where you want to go with it. So if someone was to say that summit was their goal, then you would be done. But summit is not your goal. So your goal is perfecting the craft and pushing it to new levels.
Summit's a vehicle.
Yes.
I thought summit was like a title. I'm confused now.
There may be vehicles associated with that. Yeah. But it's a means, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think, Stacy, you said something where I was like, oh, this also has changed my goals, because one of the things that I have come to realize is I actually really like the puppy development part for detection work.
Yeah. And you're really good at it. So.
Thank you. And so I've joked a lot that usually that they get to a certain stage about 6 to 8 months, and I'm like, yep, I'm done. and walk away. And so that one of the things to understand, I think, for people when they're wanting to set goals, or actually, I'm sitting on island A and I know that island B is over there and I want to be on island B, but I have to build island B from the ground up.
Yeah.
That might take a month. It might take 5 years. I have to decide what color the sand is first. And so one of the aha moments that came in for me has been the fact that I really like doing puppy stuff.
Yeah.
So how can I start putting together a world that I live in that allows me to do puppy stuff? Hence why when you guys are listening to this, I'm glad that we're recording it now, because I won't have hopefully 10 active yellow lab puppies running around in my living room. So
Yeah, are they all going to be yellow just based on
yes,
genetics?
they'll be yellows and fox reds.
Oh, little golden children.
Yes.
Puppies. Golden puppies.
So
Oh, yellow, but you know what I mean, like golden as in the color gold, not
yes,
golden. Okay, anyway.
retrievers.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
Labrador.
the whole thing is, how do you make, and I was reading a study, this was a long time ago, that women, whether they are conscious about it or not, start making decisions, so their life ends up manifesting how they think it would, like
Wow.
5 or 7 years before.
Wow.
Right. And so men tend not to do that. Men tend.
All right, I have 3 acres and I have a lottery husband, and I have.
Well, but okay. So at one point, Crystal, you said to me, I want, 3 acres and this, and this. And the supportive friend that I am keeps sending you opportunities.
Yeah, that's like 30 minutes from you.
Yes.
That would be 4.5 hours from work.
Yes. But in 5 years,
5 years.
when you get there, who knows?
Live in
Or,
the
you know
Iowa
what?
tundra.
Yes, the northern Iowa tundra. But that also says, okay, maybe you start looking for it in a different location.
Yeah.
And so it's making some of those particular decisions.
So you're saying if I lived in Iowa, I wouldn't have the 2-dog limit. And then,
Correct. You
then
would
I could
not.
have 9 dogs like other crazy people I know.
Yes, you could. And having a litter of puppies.
I just get identical looking dogs.
Oh, I tried that too. Because
Because half the time I'm looking at the corner of my eye, I'm like, Bravo. Oh, you're prize. Prize. Oh, you're Bravo.
No. I totally do that. No, because think about it. I have 2 Malinois that look very similar. And then I have Radish and Yukon, and Radish is 20 or 25% Yukon. So, and she's getting huge and she looks just like him. But floppy ears.
And when people can't tell the difference. They probably, if I were to walk Powder through my yellow lab, right? And walk Brava, it won't register that they're 2 different dogs. Just some people they're just.
Yeah. Pro tips right there. Pro tips from the Canine Detection Collaborative. If you're going to break the law,
just have identical dogs.
Oh, this is terrible. So terrible.
It's awful. It's awful.
No, but I do. I think about, so part of that is kind of why we need goals. And I hear you and I agree with you. And it's just that I'm at a weird place for my goal setting journey.
Yes.
And I love celebrating with my friends. And I love hearing, that you have the certifications coming up and, to try to help set plans for those things. And then for Stacy to know, you have summits coming up and you have, why? Oh my.
Oh, gosh.
So all the potential that you both have with all of your dogs. And I never want to feel that I'm taking anything away from that, because I am like hardcore celebrating and encouraging and right there supporting with you. And I feel the same with my club, where my best friend Nancy just got her IGP3 and then 2 weeks later turned around and finished off her Mindua Ring 1 with the same dog. And, I am like 100% support, cheerleader, everything I can do to make that happen. It's just hard to set personal goals.
Yes.
So I have the goals of being the support crew. And I think I can play that goal really well. And I can be very, very good at that. So it's just, trying to figure out where this journey goes. And so I go back to how do you set those goals? And I think part of how you can set a goal is to look at the opposite. So I looked at regret, but I also look at, do you ever feel jealous of something, or do you ever desire something? And if you desire something, then that is something you should probably set as a goal.
Yeah.
And that's where it should go, because anything that's going to make the world better, or anything that you get excited about, or that you think is fun, that's your goals right there. So, I know Stacy, you were kind of like, I don't know what I want to do in 5 years, but
I don't
now, if I told you that you could never do this thing again, what would that thing be that you would be just devastated by?
That right there. That.
Of just not being able to compete, not being able to do.
I would be, that.
Yeah. So then that's a goal that you have. And so then if I said, okay, if there's anything you see that you think is just the absolute most fun, I think you would say that agility
That.
seems very fun, and that nose work seems very fun.
No. It's just it's searching,
and that's what I'm saying. Like all of those things are what you really enjoy. So I mean, those are your goals.
Well, it's your passion. It's like find your passion, and if you find your passion and you keep yourself open and you have that growth mindset, it's going to happen.
We can't guarantee it's going to happen, but we can sure hope.
Well, and again, it goes back to that woo-woo thing, but the likelihood is definitely higher than if you don't have a passion, you don't have a growth mindset.
And it's also one of those weird, interesting things about putting it out in the universe.
Yeah.
One of the best things that happened to me is I actually did go through and get my executive coaching certificate. And the
was
frame
that called the woo-woo certificate?
And it is not a woo-woo certificate. Because actually, I'm an ICF accredited coach, so I actually had to do coaching hours, and I actually had to take an online exam and all sorts of things. And the framework that they use for somebody who is an actual accredited coach, like executive coach, not like athletic coach, Crystal, like what
I was going to say, because I'm a certified, I'm a master black belt, and it has nothing to do with karate.
Right. But you did Six Sigma, which is a processes thing, right?
Statistic. Yeah.
Yes.
Or I was a certified master.
Well, I had almost a green belt in that. It's interesting to really think about how you start writing that down in the particular school that I went through. The first question is, what do you want to be, do, or have?
Yeah.
And so that's where we start the coaching conversation. And for some of you who do coaching with me with dogs, that's where we start. What do you want to be, do, or have? What behavior do you want your dog to have?
Yeah.
Because until we have set that out, I don't know where we're going. Neither do you.
Yeah, and that takes guts too. Sometimes
it does,
it takes
it's
courage.
hard.
It goes back to that courage aspect, right?
Yeah, and how do you put all of that together?
Yeah,
and this is why I also think we have this. Our little dames of detection have turned into. I mean, we are a coaching community and of ourselves because we coach each other.
Yeah.
We problem solve. I think people would not be shocked to hear that there's lots of times we're jumping on a phone call to have a training conversation.
Like, holy crap, I got this problem. What do I do?
Right. What do I do?
Oh, yeah.
Or Crystal, holy crap, Nico still won't let go of his toy. And she's like, well, how many times have you paid an out? So,
yeah.
I'm like, but having those people that you trust that can ask you those hard questions. And I think all of us have done this to each other is, okay, I'm just going to ask you a question, not emotionally tied into the answer, but have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Those are hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, we could talk for forever. I don't even know what time we are on the clock. Right? But the other word I want to just to me, words matter. I just have a thing about the linguistic side of it or making those distinctions. So the word jealousy that, Crystal, you brought up, what are you jealous of to try to get you an idea of?
I use jealousy and then desire because I think some people get stuck.
I think it's more desire.
It's natural for humans to be jealous, though.
Oh, of course. But I guess where I wanted to go with that is that the emotions that are consistent with a growth mindset are very positive emotions. And I think, I think the word jealousy is okay if it's put into the concept or the construct of something that's not negative. Like if it's just enough to say, yeah, I really want to do that. Like that, I've got serious FOMO here and that's what I want to do. I think is actually kind of positive. But when we start thinking, we're in dogs, right? I mean, there's way too much jealousy out there. And when jealousy kind of manifests into something that's very negative and it becomes a critical of someone else component. So if you're jealous of somebody else versus I really want to do that thing, then it becomes negative, and then at that point it's counterproductive to that growth mindset. So
It's
that
always
is
counterproductive to live there. To recognize that that feeling happens, I think is natural and should be
and it's
allowed.
human.
And just making sure you don't live in that jealous state. And then you can recognize that you have desires. And then how can you move forward with those desires, which plays really well into how do you set goals? Because once you recognize you had that feeling, well, then you can go, okay, where is that feeling coming from? And how can I achieve that with my own situation or circumstance? Or how can I communicate with that person to collaborate? Oh, see what I did there. To be able to have that same thing, because clearly it's something I like.
So the point is like what you do with it, right? It's what you do
don't
with
live
it,
there.
because we're all human. We're all going to feel it, but it is what you do with it, right? It's not going out there and trying to make somebody like, being vindictive, because sometimes people like get that jealousy and they get very like petty.
Oh yeah, we've all dealt with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We've all dealt with it, exactly. So what do you do with it? Do you realize what that is and work to turn it around into just turning it into, how do you build your own goals, or do you go down a dark, bad path?
And one of the things that I've realized is, I'll look at some of the things and I'll be jealous of the knowledge they have, or I'll be jealous of how they handle the dog. And those are the hard things that you then realize that, well, in order to, get what they have, I have to do all of this stuff. And it was,
this is the iceberg phenomenon, right?
Right. Well, and I think, I don't remember which book I was reading. I think it might have been, I can't say it online because it's got a bad word in it.
Are we allowed to have 4 of those in an episode?
Not that one.
Not that one. Yeah.
Well, can you say a letter and then put an asterisk?
It just rhymes with duck.
Yes.
Okay.
And it talked about the whole fact that, if I want to be, the equivalent of Eddie Van Halen and be this internationally known rock star god on a guitar, and I'd better be in love with the entire process of becoming, and the practice and the hours and the bloody fingers and the blisters and, all of this other stuff in order to become that person.
Yeah.
And there's at some point, if somebody call me and be like, well, hey, how'd you get where you are? And I'm like, okay, here's the good, bad, and the ugly.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
And some lost relationships and all sorts of other things that go along with it, because we're not perfect. And I can get a little tunnel vision sometimes. So,
hey, I'm there.
Right.
Do I think I'd be single? I don't know.
Yeah.
Lost relationships.
Going along with what you said, Robin, one thing that I've been really working hard toward is trying to learn one new thing every day about my passions. So every day I'm making sure I learn something new about search and rescue, detection, or protection sports. Every day I make sure that I learn something new. And my system now that I'm doing, because I've been, poor Robin's been hearing this a lot. I need a system. Well, my system now is Google Keep.
Yay.
Thank you, Google Keep. So every day I'm using that as my place to record that new thing that I learn every day. So I have a place that I already know that every day I'm writing something there, and I can always go back to these ideas and go back to these new thoughts that I have that can then continue to build and grow. So if I have a day where I think, oof, I didn't learn something new today, a lot of times I can go back to that list. And so that definitely is one of those ways to work towards your goals. If you want to get really good at something, is just, if you can, every day, learn something new about that. Just one thing. And maybe it's contact somebody or read something or one thing.
Yeah.
I usually have if I learn one new thing per day I get to go back to bed. So some days I get to go back to bed at like 8 a.m. Doesn't really happen. And we'll put a link in the show notes, but the book I was talking about was The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep.
Yeah.
And that actually became a book that I started recommending out to a lot of people because it really, really talks about what's your thing and doing the soul searching to find your thing and understanding that there's also a lot of power in saying, no, that's not my thing.
Wait. What are those called? Boundaries?
Yeah. Boundaries are amazing.
She went to Boundaries. I went to City Slickers. You remember Curly?
Yes.
City Slickers, right?
Yes.
What's the one thing?
Yes.
That's where I went. She went Boundaries, and I'm like, City Slickers, Curly.
That's a little bit older for me. Sorry.
I'm not that much older than you.
No. I'm saying movie wise. It's just so old. I'm like, I can't remember it. It was so long ago.
I think it was back when we had like VHS and Beta.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, well, I am saying we're old, but you know.
All right.
I will add one more thing though, when it comes to goals. I don't know if you guys feel the same about it, but I do, whenever I set goals or think about them, I always try to also include, does it make the world better? And it could be a simple thing, even if I'm just teaching my dog a skill, is that skill making the world better? And maybe it's a stretch, but if it's helping me learn something, if it's making them easier to live with, all of those things are going to make my life better that I can then help other people. So those are all things too that I add to the goals, whether it's really, really micro goals or, macro goals. So something else maybe to think about.
I will turn that around. And does it make the world better or does it make the dog better for the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, both.
Right.
Or does it just make me happier?
If it makes you happier, you know what? The world just got better. Because if Stacy ain't happy, ain't nobody's
happy. Right. Okay, everybody.
Okay, on that note.
For coming along with us on this kind of strange little journey. One of the things that we will ask you to do is if you have a goal that you would like to share, please post that when this will go live on the social media on our Facebook page. So please go ahead and share one of your goals for 2023 or a 5-year goal if you have one of those. We'd love to hear those. And also coming up in a couple weeks, we have our roundtable discussion on 1/23 of 23.
1, 2, 3.
2, 3. So
January 23rd, for those of you who are like, what
the
like me when I'm like, huh?
Thanks for interpreting, Stacy. I appreciate you.
All right.
So go out onto the website. We'll have a link in the show notes. If you please register, it helps us fund the podcast.
Guys, if we don't do this, we don't
do the podcast. Right.
So if you guys like to listen, you can
please
sign up.
And guess what? When you sign up, you get to submit questions that you get all of our joyfulness on
joyfulness.
Yes, for 2 hours,
Clearly.
unscripted.
Clearly unscripted.
Yes, you poor people. So please submit the questions. Please sign up. We look forward to seeing you all then.
And it's already 48, you guys. We're at 48.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, we must do something special for 50.
Have like an
We're
anniversary.
going to do something we'll do something special for 50. So go out to the website, K9DetectionCollaborative.com to register for the event. Thanks everybody and have a great day training.
Canine Detection Collaborative.
We appreciate the time you spend with us. If you liked this episode, not only should you follow us so you don't miss the next one, but please also rate and review us in your favorite podcast app. For info on collaborating with us, go to K9DetectionCollaborative.com. That's K9DetectionCollaborative.com, where you can find our socials and pick up our latest monthly freebie. Join us again to talk training in the next episode.